92% of Americans are about to be impacted because of a decision that President Trump just made. Now, I want to explain what this decision is, but you need to keep in mind that this really has nothing to do with buying anything new, buying a house, buying a new car, anything like that. But President Trump has just imposed a 25% tariff on aluminum and steel. And that, according to experts, is about to make car insurance more expensive, which means maintenance costs is going to go up, which also means, again, your insurance, your premium every single month is getting more and more expensive. And you are not even doing anything about it. You can't. It's not because you're a bad driver or because you just bought the new Bentley. No, it's because insurance companies are trying to minimize their risk at all costs. Now, I want to explain what's going on in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So yes, it is true. President Trump has now imposed a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. And that is going to go into effect, I believe, on March 12th. Look at this. It says President Donald Trump on Monday imposed a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports into the United States with no exceptions or exemptions. It says although the United States gets most of its steel from Canada, Brazil, and Mexico, the tariffs are largely, albeit indirectly, aimed at China. This is a big deal, making America rich again. Okay. But here's what you need to know. The Trump steel and aluminum tariff could drive up car insurance costs. I actually got a comment on this just the other day. I want to read the comment to you first, then I want to read this article. But what you need to understand is that insurance for cars and homes is already going through the roof. It's already so expensive. Listen to what this person had to say. This person wrote to me and says, and I quote, "You probably have already seen reports like this, but did you know that tariffs will cause insurance rates to go up for cars? I got a quote from an insurance company that I was looking to switch to, and they told me that the rate I was quoted for a week ago is no longer accurate because they had to adjust the rate to accommodate for the newly imposed 25% tariff on aluminum and steel." Now, look at this. It says car insurance costs. The report notes are especially sensitive to tariffs because of the impact tariffs have on auto parts and used cars. It says it works like this. Tariffs drive up the cost to import auto parts, meaning it could cost more to repair a vehicle. If new cars also become more expensive, that can increase the demand and price tag for a used car, making vehicles more expensive to insure and replace. It says according to the report, the cost of car insurance has jumped in recent years. As recently as mid-2024, the cost of insurance was climbing by 20% or more year over year. It goes on to say the latest data released Wednesday showed that motor vehicle insurance costs were up 11.8% from a year earlier in January, following an 11.3% uptick in December. The cost to repair a car climbed 7.4% year over year, up from 7.2% just last month. Now, what is the average amount that people pay in car insurance? I think this is interesting. And let me ask you this. How much do you pay for car insurance right now? Let me know down in the comment section below. But look at this. It says, how much is car insurance? According to Bankrate's analysis of annual premiums from Quadrant Information Services, the average cost of car insurance in the U.S. is $2,670 per year, an uncomfortably high bill for many Americans. Since 2023, the average cost of a full coverage car insurance policy has gone up by $625, an increase of 31%. It says minimum coverage, on the other hand, has an average annual cost of $773. However, car insurance rates can be quite different even for similar drivers in the same area. And that's what you need to understand. Now, I've tried to go to different insurance companies over the past month or so to really shop my rate and to figure out if I can get a better rate with the exact same policy somewhere else. And you're going to go from different companies. You're going to go from your Allstate and your State Farms and your Progressives, and there's so many different ones, right? What you need to understand is that everyone is going to provide a very similar service. They're just insurance. Okay, it's just a policy in case you have an accident. The majority of people will never use and claim anything on their insurance, which is great, which means they've never been in an accident, which is always a good thing, knock on wood. But at the same time, then they feel like they've been ripped off their entire life because they've been paying into something and never got a chance to use it. Insurance is just that, insurance. Okay, it's not something you want to use. It's there in case you need to use it. That's it. So keep that in mind. The average cost of car insurance in the United States is $2,670 per year. Now, why is this very important? This is important because right now we're seeing tariffs are being placed on steel and aluminum, and that's at 25%. That's across the board. There's a pause on tariffs from Canada and Mexico, again, 25%. Then that's something that we're going to have more answers on within the next 2 weeks. And then there's still discussions of a potential tariff. And we don't know what it's going to be, but it's likely going to be 25% on the EU. What this means is not only is steel and aluminum more expensive, but if you want car parts, it's going to be more expensive. You want windshields, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. You want new rims because they were ruined, or new tires, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Everything's going to be a little bit more expensive because the parts, the material, it's all going to be coming from somewhere, which means as it enters into the United States, the company that is picking it up is going to pay an additional 25%. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't need insurance. And that's really up to you. I think most people who have insurance feel that they benefit from it because they just have peace of mind. Especially if you have a new car and it has a loan on it. The company, the lender, is likely going to require you to have full coverage insurance on that vehicle to protect their risk. So do what you can, find the best rate, but just understand at this time, if you go and ask for a quote, they may not give you the most accurate quote. They're going to give you something, but it may not be the most accurate, or they're going to tell you, well, this is only good for X amount of days, or, and this is what's happening in some cases, and this is just over the past couple of days since the Trump administration announced this, but somebody was telling me that they were actually getting a quote. They got the quote, but they only got that quote. It only lasted 6 months. They couldn't pay for a year. They couldn't pay for 2 years. They could only pay up to 6 months. That was it. The insurance company cut them off at 6 months because this tariff of 25% is going to cause a ripple effect, and the prices that we're going to see are all going to be rising on new cars, on used cars, okay, on car parts, on maintenance, everything. It's going to be getting more expensive as it does. And again, I'm bringing this to your attention because prices are going up, and every single one of us is going to feel it. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. That is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.